All right, well, hello everybody, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone. They ask me, they say, hey man, what's your show about anyway? I say, well, it's about an hour. Look at this Velcro thing here. And it's about guitar players, guitar playing, and all things guitaristic. So here's the deal. Occasionally you might see a phone number on your screen. You can dial that. You call me up and ask me a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, how to play the guitar, or some related topic like the guitarrón, the guitarra, sitar, the vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, chitoles, tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles or banjolales, banjolins, mandolins, mandors, mandolas, bandoras, bandolims, or, sax and violins on television. There you go. Pipe organs, piccolos, pianos, organs, ocarinas, accordions, sack butts, timpanis, drum horns, quartholts, saxophones. Anything musical is fine. Clarinets or clavinets. You could talk about politics, world events, your own personality problems, whatever you like, but keep it clean. This is a family program. How's that?
We probably should mention that's if it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Our Friday crew never answers the phone.
That's right. Because on Friday, we are a rerun. And right now, if this is Tuesday, if you're watching Tuesday, shortly after 6, you are watching a live program. So that's what it's all about here on Tom's Guitar Show. So, live TV every week. The show is really never that good, I don't think, but at least it's consistent. It's on every week, and you can, except, of course, we take a couple weeks off in the middle of the winter, or for the Christmas holidays or New Year's or whatever. They like to have vacations, and then people come in and rewire the studio or whatever. Try to clean up after people like me, things like
So tell us about the guitar you brought tonight.
Well, this is a Taylor. Taylor guitar. Of course, Taylor's a pretty fancy company out of California, and they don't make many nylon string guitars. This one is one that I think they have a small line of guitars that are actually made in Mexico. So they're significantly less expensive, and this is such a guitar. This is actually the least expensive guitar that you can get by Taylor, I think, except for the Mini or whatever it is, which is not that great a guitar. They have a little tiny guitar you can get that's not very good. But it's made in Mexico. It's a nylon string, electrified. Has a Taylor pickups, got little knobs here. See if you can see them. Oh, there we go. See these three little knobs. We got the volume. We got the high, the low tone. And I'll turn on the low a little bit. I got this not that long ago because I've had these issues with, I had two basically acoustic electric nylon string guitars that I played for one for 10 years and one for more like 15 years or more. Like most of my gigs, because I do a lot of nylon, I do a lot of, I do the steel string guitar and electric guitars of various kinds, but I do a lot of nylon string stuff. It's kind of more like classical guitar and then kind of I don't know what you call it. I don't want to call it smooth jazz because you can get beat up for saying that. That's an abomination in the jazz world to call it smooth jazz. But you do like a jazz standards and popular songs in like a rather pleasing to the ear, we would hope, finger style version. So I play anything from a Beatles song to an old, torch song from the 30s or 40s or something like that. And so I do a lot of that. And of course, bossa nova and my own kind of like flamenco rumba stuff that I do. So I do a lot of nylon, but my two guitars, they both had problems and ended up in the shop. And so I was at this has been an ongoing thing on this show. Me complaining talking about my guitar problems. And if you'd watched the show a couple of years ago, you'd see I was in the thick of this issue. There was a very sad time when the neck started to really bend on my Gypsy Kings, my Spanish electric flamenco guitar that I played. I had the thing out in a gig like at least 2 or 3 times a week, every week for 10 years. So it became unplayable, and now it hangs on the wall. Mostly unnoticed. It just started to become a decoration. So I've acquired a few guitars this year, and or last year, I guess, 2014, and I might be done. I might get one more. I don't know. It's possible. You know how they say, just one more. But this one, I got this one in the, I don't know, it was in the early fall or the summer, perhaps, because I got a really good deal on it. And this is the cheapest one they have. There's the one with the cutaway, it's a little bit more expensive, and the American one is much more expensive. But this was in the hundreds of dollars instead of the thousands. And it's a pretty interesting guitar. It's bigger. See, it's like a bigger body than a classical guitar normally has. And it's, it's kind of nice and everything. The wood is made out of it is pretty nice. But what I noticed about it when I got it, it was fun to play, but when I plug it in, it was really thin in the bass. So what I figured out how to do is take this guitar I've had for a while and was disappointed with, and with the aid of the pedals that I have on the floor, and sorry, I'm going to yawn. I have 3 pedals here. The one in the middle is a ditto looper for when I want to loop. So this is the ditto. This is the special edition gold looper. So that's just for looping. Over here we have an MXR 10-band equalizer, which I have beefed up the bass quite a bit. And I might, gravel on the floor during this show and tweak them a little bit. So this is the mixer, the equalizer. And over on the other side here is the Sonic Stomp. So I don't know if you can hear this very well at home, but this is the tone I have worked up for right now. It sounds like it. Right, nice and all right. If I take off the Sonic Stomp, which is a sonic maximizer, it doesn't have that little shimmer on it. That little, it still sounds okay, pretty good. I should say I also have some reverb and a little bit of chorus on the amp. I'm using the Fishman Loudbox Mini. I also have the Fishman Loudbox, the bigger one, the full-size one, the 100 watt or whatever. And that's what I usually plug this into, but I'm just using this one because, well, I wanted to go to the car and in one trip, so I carried all this stuff in with me. Okay, so that's without the Sonic Stomp. If I take off the mixer, the equalizer, excuse me, it sounds like this. If I turn up the volume more, the bass is really light. So like, this doesn't sound too bad. before I got into equalizers, I had the Sonic Stomp, which I've had for a while, but I didn't know what to do with it. I was using it for like regular electric guitars to enhance it, and it didn't make a whole lot of difference. And the thing about the Sonic Maximizer is that in some situations with equipment, it's not going to make that much difference. And that's it's got more bass and a little more clarity. But with the equalizer, I have a big, full, rich sound, more thump and bass. And I just started working with a 10 band. I have this Boss 7 band, which I've been messing with for the last couple weeks. I got it, used and kind of beat up. It's still, the Boss stuff, it seems to be built pretty tough. And I got it at a pawn shop, cheap. But turn this down a little bit. But it's pretty good, but it's only 7 bands. But somehow I was getting a pretty good sound with that. But a couple notes were too loud. I didn't have enough bands, so I want to turn the really low ones up. Because even without any of this stuff, that's kind of weak. With the Sonic Stomp, that's better. That's still pretty weak. But this, but anyway, okay, what I'm babbling on about is with a 7 band equalizer pedal. I would beef it up, but the E would be okay, but the A would be too loud. So this way I'm able to kind of equalize it, because what an equalizer does is you can suppress the high end and beef up the low end, and if you turn the amp up or the guitar up enough, you get this, you get the balance you want between the low and the high notes. And I need a lot of bass. It's just the pickup it has in this guitar, the design of the pickup. I have another guitar also, now a string electric, that is a little bit thin in the bass. So that's my story. I've got the guitar for a while, but I haven't gotten the sound where I want it. This is actually, I like this voice. I'm looking for a particular voice. I obviously have a bunch of other guitars and amplifiers and configurations of equipment. But I want to create certain kinds of sounds for different kinds of purposes. And most of my stuff, a lot of guitar players are geared toward distortion and playing really loudly, like in a kind of a rock thing, like heavy metal rock thing, where they want a distorted, overdrive sound, where you're overdriving the signal, and it breaks up. It's called breaking up. It becomes, distorted. And what I want to do with the kind of music I want to play is I want it to be really clean. But maybe my favorite thing to do is to play a classical guitar in a large room, like a church, a big church, like a cathedral, or like a large concert hall. I did a couple concerts at the Sculpture Court in the Museum of Art before it flooded years ago, and I played these concerts without any amplification. But I didn't have to be very loud because my audience were, they were sitting there in their folding chairs with a program in their lap, not talking and eating pizza and stuff and drinking beer and getting into arguments. They were being quiet. They weren't making any noise while I was playing. It was like a concert situation. So
Not like playing in a bar.
not like playing in a bar. Because, now, years ago I played in a bar. I played in a bunch of bars, but there was one night I remember I played in Checkers in Cedar Rapids, and it's basically a blues bar. And my setup for that was I had a large keyboard amp, the biggest one that Peavey made at the time, the KB300, which has a 15-inch speaker and a horn, And I forget how many watts it is, but quite a few. So I did my vocals exclusively through that one amplifier. And then my guitar, I was going through a 30 or 35 watt tube amp, which, if you know your tubes, 35 watts tubes is a lot of power. The 15-inch speaker is a Peavey Delta Blues, so I had these two Peavey amps. and I was playing a Telecaster, Fender Telecaster, through this amp, and I'd crank it up, and I'd keep cranking it up louder because I never played so loud. People were noisy. They were having a good time, but they were drinking heavily and shouting and dancing and jumping around. And I was playing, and singing in this bar up on the stage. They normally had bands, but that night they had just me. And that setup seemed to work. But normally I'm going to play at a lower volume for people who are having dinner or something, or at a cocktail party or something. So.
You should probably mention where you do that now.
Oh yeah, well, I can tell you right now that this weekend I'm probably not going to play Friday at the Tuscan Moon. If you want to hear me Friday at the Tuscan Moon, you can go and try to make a reservation and say, well, I only want to play if the guitar player, or I want to have dinner if the guitar player is going to be there. See, that'd be a psychological warfare. It might be a benefit, but this is the slow season between the holidays and the patio season, because it's a really big outdoor patio, thing in the summer. Right now, the patio is not, they're not serving on the patio for some reason, especially when it's down in 0 or so Fahrenheit. So it's indoors, and so anyway, I think I'm laid off Friday, but I'll be there Saturday night from about 6:30 to maybe as late as 10, depending on how things go. And I'll be, Sunday, I'll be at Journey Church in Coralville at 10:30, providing the musical backdrop for Pastor Chuck's preaching there. And I think that's all it is this week. Having said that, I had a cello teacher at professor, chase me down the hall, asking me if I played mandolin. I said, yes, I do. And they said, well, they're doing Don Giovanni at the Cedar Rapids Opera Theater. And the mandolin player they hired maybe wasn't really accustomed to Mozart. I think it was a bluegrass mandolin player, which, to fill in your own joke, I mean, you can imagine, trying to play Mozart for the first time.
Well, I think most mandolin players in the USA today are bluegrass players.
That's right. There are very few of us. I actually have a classical mandolin background, which may be kind of weird, and usually you don't need a guy like me. I mean, I guess I can play bluegrass, but I just don't have it in me to play bluegrass mandolin. Banjo, guitar, string, bass, I'm fine. But mandolin, I've always been more like a classical or like a folk, like European folk, like Eastern European folk, I went through Giuseppe Bronzoli's mandolin method book, cover to cover one summer, 1894 or something, vintage book. And so I'm more of a, and I played the Vivaldi mandolin concertos and the Boccherini concerto. I mean, that's, some people think you're snobby, but, well, you don't make any money and you can't get a date, so how snobby can you be, really? Anyway, so so they might want to replace the mandolin player, in which case, I don't know when the show's coming up. It's really soon, and they're having difficulties in the rehearsals. And so I thought, oh wow, what if I get thrown into this, and now I have to practice mandolin like 5 hours a day, and show up at rehearsals and cancel my gigs so I can play at the opera theater for short money, or maybe for free, or maybe I'm too busy.
Yeah, if you're getting paid for the gigs, then you wouldn't get paid for that. Should be an easy choice.
Well, I'd like to be the mandolin player in the orchestra for Don Giovanni, kind of. I kind of want to. It'd be a story I could tell. But at the same time, I got to get food, I think, to quote George Bush, it's hard to put food on your family, he said. By the way, I think I've noticed that the Republicans don't remember who he was. They forgot about him, about 5 minutes after Obama was inaugurated in 2008, and they blamed the economic issues on Obama. And, I don't know, from before he was president. But anyway, I just had a conversation with somebody who didn't seem to remember that there was a George Bush. This was somebody who was over 60 years old, and you'd think that they, Anyway, but yeah, I'd like to do. I'd like to do that classical mandolin gig. That'd be fun. It'd be interesting. I'm not sure if I have the time. I think I have to work really hard to do a good job, and I really, really hate to do a bad job. In front of everybody at the Paramount Theater in Cedar Rapids. I think that would be embarrassing. I have to be. I just have to lay it in the groove if I can. But anyway. I'm gonna make a loop. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think I'm going to start with a G minor 9 and see what happens. And if it's no good, I'll push the pedal down, the little button down for 1.5 seconds, and it'll be gone forever. So once I get my tone down with the two outside pedals, the one in the middle, my looping pedal, That's where the action is. So, looping is, there are a lot of looping pedals on the market. The Ditto is a newer one, and it's only been around for maybe a year or so, the most. And there's even one that's even cheaper and smaller, which is the Hot Tone Wally, little tiny yellow thing, and I've had one on the show. Digitech has one now. It's only $99 or something. Boss has a new one, the RC1, which is very simple, and it's a little over $100. But they're not that expensive. They used to be, of course, extremely expensive, but now they're pretty common. It's a little thing. It's got memory in it and a little bit of software to, basically all you have to do is you push it, on the downbeat when you're, if you're tapping your foot, normally for the music, you push the button on one, and then you play your phrase, however long it might be, and then you push it on one again, where it would start again. So, say I just do a couple measures. I'll do okay, I'm in a G minor thing, So I'll play a G minor 7 and a C9. That's 1/4. So 1, 2, here I go. So, and one is, see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So what do you do now? Yeah? G minor. Everybody knows G minor is a relative minor of B flat. So that means I got 2 flats, B flat and E flat. So I just have to I can do whatever I want in G minor. I can just practice my G minor. I don't need anybody to play along with me. Now I can sit around and noodle around in G minor all day. Without the loop, though, it'd be kind of boring. Because without the loop, it's like, hang on. I can go like. Sure, that's fine. That's G minor, right? But with this, and of course, back when I was a boy, if you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to have friends who would be your rhythm slaves and just like play that groove. And a lot of people don't want to do that, especially these days when everybody's in a hurry. And there's a lot to be said for being like in the rhythm section. To be playing the same thing over and over again, it's kind of fun. In fact, if you're a bass player, that's kind of your job. That's what I'd play if I were a bass player. Well, I'm a bass player. I just don't have a bass on me. I should do a Tom's Guitar Show that's all about bass playing. Yeah.
Bring your triplet brothers in some night.
Yeah. That's what I should do. I wonder if we can still, I wonder how we do that these days. We have a split screen thing. I know we can do it.
Yeah, the new computer is much more features than the old one did.
Yeah.
Now, if we got somebody around here that can operate the thing.
Yeah. We should learn how to do that. It's kind of fun. I like to. I've had a pretty bad gas attack this year.
We should probably tell the audience what your gas attacks are.
Well, that's guitar acquisition syndrome. And I forget the exact circumstances. I've actually traded some stuff and sold some stuff. And I was making some pretty good money for a while, earlier. And so there's a West Music, they had a bass. And I can't remember the guy's name. It's somebody's semi-famous like fusion bass player. So they had a Fender signature bass of his. And I thought it was new. It was actually used, I discovered. And it was his bass. It had the same big. There's two main Fenders.
So you went on a fender bender? I'm sorry.
I've been on a fender bender. Yes, I actually have acquired some other Fender things too. But
Like the alcoholics say, one drink is too many, but two is never enough.
100's not enough. Yeah. See, one's too many, 100's not enough. That's what I think I've got like over 75 guitars, and we're not talking about my basses and ukuleles and banjos and mandolins and never mind. And ethnic things.
So you can never have enough stringed instruments.
You probably can, and I probably do. Yeah. But well, anyway, so I went out to West Music to look around at stuff, which I do periodically, and I was on my way out. And I popped in to pay my respects to the manager, John, who was a really nice guy. Yeah. But he literally saw me coming. So he comes out and says, by the way,
it's to his advantage to be nice to you.
That's right, because it was getting...
Like the helpful smile on every aisle at Hy-Vee.
That's right, yeah. And so they had this bass that was hanging up there for too long. Yeah. And, they were doing inventory for the year end, and they had to pay taxes on things, they had to get it out of inventory. So either we sell it or we try to sell it on eBay. And they hate to do that because of various business reasons. Right. So he gave me a tremendous discount on this signature model bass, which has, because there are two kinds of, there are other ones, but the two main Fender basses that have been around since the 50s are the Precision and the Jazz. And the Precision has one pickup but it's actually split. So it's like two pickups, but they're, one's for the treble strings and one's for the higher strings, one's for the lower strings. So it's like split. And then the Jazz has two pickups that are farther apart. They're not split. They're just straight ahead pickups. This one has both setups on it, and it's a little bit bigger, it seems, in some ways, and it has a really deep cutaway, so you can get way up high. So the cutaway is deeper than usual, so you can actually get to the last fret with just access. And it has some switches on it. I don't know what they do yet, and. But I just twiddle the knobs and say, well, that sounds good. And I play the thing for a while. And it's pretty good because I have a Fender Jazz from the custom shop I've had for many years. It was like $1,700. And I didn't have any money back in those days either, but I had a platinum card. So I was actually there. My son was a little kid then, and I bought him a little tiny Stratocaster. And I went out there to pay it off. And while I was there waiting for somebody to wait on me, I saw this black shiny bass. This is like, 15 years ago or something. And it, on the wall, and I looked at it and I said, because my parents were French teachers, said, tiens, which is like, well, or wow, or what? What's that? Like, tiens, there's no word for it in English. So I went and picked the thing up, and I noticed, wow, it doesn't have any frets. It looks like it has frets, but they've been ground down all the way to the wood. And finally got a hold of the salesman. Said, oh yeah, that was how they made that in a custom shop. It's a special edition. Slightly smaller body, a little more streamlined, no frets, ground down, really well made, made in California, Fender Jazz. And I, 10 minutes later, I was walking out the door with it, So, and of course, we took the whole summer to pay it off. But anyway, so I've had that one and a couple other ones, and a Mexican Fender Jazz with frets on it, which is kind of heavy and bulky, and it's not that good compared to the American one that I had, but had the frets on it, which I don't need because I don't drink. Like around third set, if you drink, you're going to need the frets. Because maybe you could play in tune earlier, but I don't drink, so I'm, coffee, iced tea, things like that.
You can still find the chords.
I find where the notes are. Yeah, I don't play in tune, But then I got this other one, and I never really liked my Mexican Fender that much. It's okay. It's not bad. It's white. So I got the black one, and I got the white one. But now I got this one, which is the brown Sunburst, which is the special edition with all the doodads and the extra pickups and the little switches. I don't know what they do. And so I started playing that one. I thought, this is really nice. I need some new strings. The kind I want are like $50 a set, so I'm waiting. So I got that, So what I should do is bring that one and the black one with the no frets on the show, and play one off the other. Maybe bring a guitar along too, just so for continuity.
Need something for melody.
Yeah, well, you play melody on bass. Actually, with the looping and the bass, you can do stuff. I really like the bass as a melody instrument. Which reminds me, on February 6th, I teach at Coe College now. I've got this job. This is my second or third year. I don't know. I can't remember. 2012? 2014? Yeah, this is my second year. This is my fourth semester there. But we're having a faculty recital on February 6th. And last faculty recital, I talked to John Hall, who's a bassist, and I think he's a conductor of a high school orchestra in Cedar Rapids. But he plays in various bands. And he played something with a piano accompaniment, a solo. And so I approached him backstage at our last faculty's concert last spring. And I thought, well, or it was, no, it's the one this last fall, that's right. And he didn't have any students at Coe. He's on the roster, but he didn't have any bass students. And so he's just doing that to try to, encourage people, to come. And that's kind of what the faculty recital is for, is to try to get people who are looking for a college or maybe who are in college, but you might want to take a music course or something.
Might need an elective.
Yeah. And they need a fine arts credit, and so they can take different things, basket weaving or bass playing, Anyway, so I approached him with the idea of playing some duets. And I've done this with other bassists before, but a string bass with a bow as the melody instrument, and then the guitar, or something really kinky, a mandolin, which is see, mandolin kind of picks up where the guitar leaves off. Yeah. Those are the strings of a mandolin. It's like half, it's like half the size of a guitar. So if I strum the chords on the mandolin, that'd be and have a string bass, that'd be like opposite. Because usually you have the accompaniment down low anyway, I'm nattering on. I was thinking about trying to do some stuff, with other musicians. And, I don't know. That would require work, wouldn't it? I had to practice, rehearse.
Well, none of the descriptions you've given playing the bass before are true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many bass players does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. Difference between a trombone player and a sax player? Sax player has a job. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'll have to. Well, I'll find some more musician jokes, but we probably should save them for the coffee house specials. went from D minor to D major. So when you're soloing in D minor, remember you're doing D minor, which is relative minor, a key of F, 1 flat, B flat. F scales F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Right? So D minor is D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. Okay? And then after I did that for a little while, I switched into D major, which has 2 sharps. So I got to remember when you're playing the solos, is the first starts D minor, and it gets happy, D major. A lot of guitar players are going to memorize. They're going to memorize like scales in patterns, like by rote, so you know a pattern, particular scale. And that's very useful. I mean, the one, we've done on this show a bunch of times. In the old days, I had this kid who demonstrated it like every week. The early Tom's Guitar Show, I had a young fellow named Jesse who was a teenager, and he knew his pentatonic scale really well, which is, you just like. Which is very handy. You can do something like, you could do like a. So I can, okay, and then you might like use a scale. Right? And that's easy enough to do. All you remember is it's first 1/4 finger, skip 2 fingers, skip 2 frets. Right? 1, I'll get out of the way of my microphone. 1, 4, and then 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. So it's 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Easy to find. It's in a lot of books. I'm sure you can find it online. Pentatonic scale. Right? And then, so that's, if you're using a minor thing, it works for blues or something in a minor key. If you do it in major, I could do something like a. So if I'm in C, I can go. Oops, I missed, sorry. Sorry, I started getting fancy. So this is a very easy thing to learn. I actually I just wrote this down on a little scrap of paper for a student I had at the college today as a beginner, a fresh person. And told her to go buy the method book, but in the meantime, learn this scale. And I know people, that's all they ever do is that one scale. And they're fine, they can play different kinds of things with it. But if you want to really be doing the thing and get having more adventures, and I want to have a life of adventure, so I say if you rather than just playing one scale in a pattern you've memorized, learn all the notes on the guitar and learn how they interact. So if I were going to do something like that, I'll do this C major thing like a. So instead of doing that like. I'll just play in C major, no sharps, no flats. See there, I'm playing the whole neck of the guitar. I'm just playing notes in the key of C major. And C major has no sharps, no flats. If you play the piano, it's all the white keys, not the black ones in between. The black ones in between, those are sharps or flats, depending on how you look at it. I mean, like this note here, is that A sharp or B flat? Huh? And my answer, is it A sharp or B flat? Yes, it is. Sorry, that's because it depends on how you want to look at it, right? Is my glass half full or half empty? Yes. Which I don't care about because I probably have if I had a jug of milk, I wouldn't care, because I could always refill it halfway if I wanted. My thing is, if you're driving back from Omaha in the middle of the night from a gig, and there's that big dead spot in between, like, Omaha and Des Moines, is my gas tank half full or half empty when I leave Omaha? Anyway, never mind. So, also, the same thing, C major and A minor are the same key. So, for instance, like I was talking about keys before, it's like, okay, so a C scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, no sharps. The A minor is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. The only difference between an A minor scale and a C scale is on a C scale you start with C, end up on C, and an A minor is A and A. It's the same key signature, no sharps, no flats. So if I want to do something like, okay, that's an A minor, so. Now I can do that same pentatonic scale. Sounds great, actually. You can memorize the one scale, do whatever you want, but I like to. So if people ask me for advice, I say, well, if you're a beginner, or if you just want to learn how to do something, and that's all you want to learn the pentatonic scale, and maybe a few chords. And then you can use that, knowledge, and you can play all kinds of different music. Well, not all kinds, but you can play a lot of music, basic blues, rock and roll, country music, folk music, stuff like that. You'll be fine. You can make up stuff yourself. But it would behoove you, as a musician, to learn your instrument and learn basic theory how music works, like what's sharp, what's flat. I like to start a solo on the fifth. So if I did something like that's A minor, what's the fifth of A? A, B, C, D, E. I actually knew that. I was just doing that for dramatic purposes, A, B, C. So if I could start on E, so there's an A. So I went on the A minor chord from the fifth, which is E, to the root, which is A. So, I'm not going to stay on a D. I might start at a C. I'm not going to play a G for very long. I'm going to hit, certain notes. Like the fifth or the root of the chord. So I'm going to hit it like an A or an E. So the E up to A, which is the root of the chord. That's an A. So C's okay. It's not my favorite note, but the E is great. And A is great. Okay. Well, so that's my commercial for learning how to play the instrument you're with. I mean, I'm still struggling with it. First few decades are the hardest, and then I don't know. I don't know. It's just like if you learn how notes go together to make things feel a certain way, give you emotion, and then you learn how to, maybe you learn all the notes on the instrument you're playing, and then you learn how to get them to them when you want to, like good fingering and how to strike the string in such a way. And then maybe you learn how to, if it's an electric instrument, learn how to plug it into the right boxes so it sounds good. Then maybe you'll get some music. Anyway, that's what we can hope. Well, enough of that. Perhaps I've said too much. But I think we'll be back here next week.
You'll probably think of something to say next week.
Probably. Anyway, so long, folks.